Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. 3 individuals were arrested shortly after Hopkins County deputies knocked on a door on Farm to Market Road 1870. Deputies went to the house in search of a wanted person. When the female resident answered the door, she stated that she had not seen the individual sought in over a week. Deputies searched the residence and found a locked bedroom door. She stated the door should not be locked because no one was in the room. The wanted subject opened the door. Juan Domingo Ramirez, age 26 of Como, was behind the locked door along with another male. Ramirez was wanted for violation of probation, injury to a child. Kathy Darlene Culpepper, age 44, was arrested for hindering apprehension, a felony 3. Both are in Hopkins County Jail Wednesday morning. The third individual was also arrested on a misdemeanor charge. She's in jail on a $20,000 bond for a September 6th possession of controlled substance, penalty group 1, more than 1 gram but less than 4 grams. However, more charges were generated when she spoke with her son by phone from the jail facility. Sharon Donice Simmons, age 47, called her son using a phone at the jail and told her son to destroy the black bag inside her residence on Wildcat Way. Inside the bag, 3.6 grams of suspected methamphetamine, along with several syringes, meth pipes, and other drug paraphernalia. An additional charge of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, more than 1 gram, less than 4 grams, has been added to her list of charges. It's all in the paperwork. We're not in compliance, lamented Hopkins County Sheriff Butch Adams Wednesday morning after reading Tuesday's report on the inspection of the Hopkins County Jail. Adams stated that the new jail building and grounds are now in compliance. However, 3 areas in the paperwork are not in compliance. The level of noncompliance will not affect the jail in housing either local or out-of-county inmates. He stated that this is not a remedial noncompliance. He expects the jail to be in compliance with the reports of next quarter. The 3 specific areas of noncompliance: recreation, life and safety issues, and disciplinary grievance. Adams stated that the problem of the old jail should not be a problem at the new jail. He stated recreation facilities are in compliance in the facility. The problem? The documentation evolved when jailers recorded the time and date inmates were taken to recreation, but failed to record when the inmates were returned to their cells. Adams calls the infraction aggravating because they know to do that but get busy and forget and don't finish the paperwork. He stated supervisors should be checking the reports, but they failed to do so. Life and safety issues revolve around recording the instruction given to new personnel regarding the location of fire extinguishers and other equipment used in case of fire, and the location of keys should the electrical power be down. Also, the time and date of quarterly retraining was not noted or not performed. Adams said without the paperwork, there's no proof of work performed. He said that any time an inmate is to be disciplined, the inmate has 24 hours to address his grievance regarding the discipline to the proper authorities. The 24-hour period is to pass before the discipline is carried out. Again, no paperwork was available to show the steps had been taken. Adams noted that the move from the old jail to the new jail was part of the problem. The records requested may have been placed in storage or not located for the inspectors, or not done. Everything else was in compliance, according to the sheriff. He said steps will be taken to check the work to make sure it is performed. A staff meeting for the jail will follow. He said in meeting with the jailers to be instructed and encouraged to question when they are teaching them to ask questions when they are unsure of what is to be recorded in the paperwork. The sheriff said that for the supervisors in their motivation meeting and for the jailers in their motivations meeting, he would be the motivational speaker. The sheriff said the good news is that as the holidays approach, the jail will traditionally have fewer inmates. However, after the first of the year, numbers will increase. 53 indictments were handed down by a Hopkins County grand jury on Monday. Indictments include injury child elderly disabled with intent bodily injury, arson, evading arrest, and a number of drug charges. Not all the names of those indicted were released. Those who have been arrested for their individual charges were released to the public. You can find those names at ksstradio.com. 4 years ago, when County Commissioner Precinct 3 Wade Bartley entered office, he wanted to reopen Pipeline Road to give quicker access to emergency medical services for county residents on the east side of the county. Bartley will now proceed to make application to the Federal Emergency Management Agency for funds to assist in that project. We visited with Bartley Tuesday afternoon.
Well, when I first came into office, Jimmy, which was 4 years ago, that was an idea that I had, that I would like to see that road open back up for the benefit of our citizens on the east part of the county. It'd be a quicker access to EMS services. That was my primary goal and emphasis, to open that road back up.
It is the shortest distance between 2 points, isn't it?
Sure it is, and that could make a difference in a matter of life and death.
What steps are you taking now?
I have visited with Mr. Dan Boyles with MTG Engineering out of Texarkana, and we've been on site about 4 months ago. We went out and looked at the project, and so he's back today, and we've talked this over, and we're going to proceed with an application through FEMA to get some grant money to hopefully start the process to rebuild that road. To what standards just yet, we don't know, but we'll take one step at a time. And so if we can get the grant money through FEMA, then the county or the city won't have to be out a lot of money.
When we look at Pipeline Road, what are some of the biggest difficulties in reworking that roadway?
Well, there's a creek that has a bridge that crosses just right off of the highway, and it's a floodplain. And these FEMA funds are to take areas that have repetitive losses, lots of maintenance. County and city crews have had to close that road down because of the maintenance issues in the past, and so FEMA would take a close look at the benefits to the public for being able to make it to the hospital quicker versus the cost of what it would take to cross that floodplain.
So basically building up that roadway?
Yes, sir. Establishing drainage across the road and alongside the road, and building it up so that it would not flood as often.
How many residents along Pipeline Road are affected by this?
Well, as far as property owners, Jimmy, you've probably got 8 or 10 residences along Pipeline Road. There's a lot of undeveloped area there on the east side, the east end of Pipeline Road, and so it affects those. But think of the residents that live on the streets off of Loop 301, East Loop 301, or the residences that live in Weaver or South Tilla. It's not just the city folks that it's going to affect.
This will take working with the city in this project, will it not?
It'll be a joint venture. As a county commissioner, I represent citizens inside the city and outside as well, you know, counties, the whole county. And so we want to work with the city as much as we can, and we've opened a dialogue with the city, and they know what we're going to proceed in doing as far as applying for this assessment and hopefully get some funds. And so with their blessing, we're going to go ahead and proceed with this.
You have worked with the city engineer in this project, or have you chatted with them? Or
We've chatted with them. We've had several projects in Sulphur Springs in the past, and this would be our second project with the county of this type. So all the commissioners have a little bit of, they're familiar with the system and the grant process and what this takes. So I think it's a good team.
I know that the state has been building a number of bridges here in Hopkins County on county roadways. Do you perceive that you may be able to convince TxDOT to assist you with the bridge on Pipeline Road?
Well, as a matter of fact, I've been in touch with Daniel Taylor, who's the engineer there at TxDOT here in Sulphur Springs, and he has indicated that once that road is opened back up, that bridge that's there is on state right-of-way, that they will put that bridge back on their list to replace. And so they would come in and replace that bridge for us eventually. Don't know what kind of time frame. So that would be state money to be coming in to help on the road also.
How soon could we start working on this? I know it depends on FEMA funds, but how soon after it's funded?
Hopefully it's sooner than later. I would think in terms of construction would lead 2018, but the grant's due in end of this year, and the engineering and the assessments by FEMA would probably take most of 2017.
Obviously, you're going to work with the county commissioner here to try to
Yes, sir.
secure those funds?
That's correct. County went out for engineers a month or two ago, and then we were selected, and look forward to working with the good people of Hopkins County again.
There's a firm out of Austin, Grant Works, who will also be working with closely to help process those applications for the grants.
Northeast Texas Beef Improvement Organization. It works year-round for local beef producers and buyers, too. And once a year, NetBio holds a celebration. That's where you're invited on Friday, October 7th to the Cattleman's Classic Ribeye Roundup. Would you welcome from NetBio? Here's Dwight Bell. Good morning.
Good morning.
Howdy. And Mario Villarino.
Good morning, everybody.
We recognize you from your voice. We don't even have to say your name.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you, too. You've got on those NetBio shirts, and I know you're busy with this type of business, even today. What's going on today, Dwight?
Well, the NetBio was having one of their preconditioning calf sales today out at the sale barn, and we'll run about 5,500 preconditioned calves through there, maybe more. I don't know exactly what the final numbers were, but
wow.
It'll be a big sale.
Well, and I'm very uneducated on this, but NetBio is a large organization.
That is correct. It started back in November '98 here in the region, but actually has been expanded to more than just Northeast Texas. You know, they have cattle coming in up to 45 counties around the area.
So 5,500 head sounds like a lot to us, but is this normal throughout the organization?
Well, we sold 30,000 head of cattle through the 6 sales last year, and this year we're on track to sell over 35,000 head through those 6 sales. So we've actually seen about a 33% increase in the number of cattle this year over 2015. So it's, it continues to grow and do very well.
Okay.
And it's important to remember that this cattle is just not any cattle. I mean, there's several barns selling cattle, but these particular ones are preconditioned cattle, animals that are being raised in certain conditions that they fit that requirement, and actually they're being prepared better off for the rest of their lives. The buyers love them because at these sales, the calves are commingled into with other cattle of the same type, and they can buy a lot of cattle at one time rather than having to do like most auctions buy one head at a time. So they can buy a load of cattle in one auction move there, one bid, as opposed to having to set hours to buy just a few head one at a time.
Okay.
And they also being vaccinated and being conditioned to be together and feeding on the trough and bed check. That's another of those requirements that they make them more primed to do better whenever they move.
Well, NetBio came about as a foresight of some people who saw, as our dairy industry was declining, that the beef industry was going to step up, and so it required helping out the farmers and ranchers.
And it is hand on hand. It's a community effort. It takes a community to maintain agriculture. And as I was thinking throughout the day, I had to talk about the importance of marketing agricultural product is critical. If you're producing a commodity and you have challenges marketing, well, perception cannot change, and variability plays a major factor. But when you have a prime sale like this one, that allow people to actually invest time and resources in a commodity that is going to be sold well, and that's critical, Lisa.
Well, NetBio has a wonderful name and reputation around here, and now you're going to get to do something fun. On October 7th, you have a great event planned downtown Sulphur Springs.
We do. October 7th, that Friday afternoon, we'll have the cooking competition starting it off, and it looks like we're going to be completely full. We have room for about 37 teams there on the square, and we feel like, we know that it's going to be filled up. We've already got the teams registered and they're filled up.
So full of cooking teams.
Correct.
Not full of diners.
No, that's what we want there. And we will have a significant number at the arena and the Civic Center starting a day when they're going to get up to 4 BQA credits. So producers will learn how to do humane handling of cattle, this main component of the educational part. And then we're going to move on into the Civic Center to put them together, producers and consumers, and then the cooks in between, and celebrate the beef day that the county is going to declare that day, beef day in the second year in the road. The commissioners will come out and we have a proclamation for beef day that October 7th that day.
The cooking teams will be probably around 37 of them, and they'll be cooking steaks for the public after their competition is over. And we have 1,200 tickets on sale for the event, and when the 1,200 are gone, that'll be it. That's how many steaks we'll be preparing for the public, and they're $25 each. And we get help from the Sulphur Springs Culinary Department, and we just love that part of it because Nancy and her students out there, they prepare all of the baked potatoes, the salads, the dessert, and they actually bring it down there to the plaza. They'll set up in the serving tents, and last year we served those, I think we did 900 last year, and we served those in about 45 minutes to an hour through 4 stations. So they did a great job. Those students are really, really something, and we really appreciate their help.
And 900 diners at your very first event. That's why you've upped it. What did you say, 1,200?
1,200 this year is what we're going.
And it's important people remember to secure those dinner tickets because once we're done, and it has to do with securing food for everybody and a number of steaks. These steaks, I was talking to Dwight earlier today, they're specially cut by Brookshire's for this event. So we had to make sure that we have plenty for everybody. But the key word is actually get your ticket as soon as you can. And secure that date for us to have a good time all together as a community.
Of course, we know Dwight Bell from Texas Heritage National Bank, and that is a location for ticket sales.
It is. We'll have them on our website, so you can Google us up and look at our website, and you can buy the tickets there, or you can come to any of our locations over Ore City, Dangerfield, Omaha, or Sulphur Springs. And then we also have City National Bank that's going to be selling those through their Emory branch and through their Mockingbird location, and then downtown. Alliance has got them on sale at their downtown location. And we have Brookshire's, one of our major sponsors. They'll be selling them. And Jay Hodge, he's our new major event sponsor, and if you haven't been out there to meet Jay and his group, you need to get by there to see them because they're a pleasure to do business with, and they'll have our tickets out there for sale, and we're really glad to have him in our community and to be a part of this event.
Yeah, Jay Hodge Chevrolet. And so decide who all you want to bring and plan your little party, because it is going to be a party. I'm not saying it's a circus atmosphere. That's one thing I do like about the planning meetings. Now I see how it is developing. This is a classy event.
It really is. I've had an opportunity to visit some of the other steak cook-off contests, and they fill their towns up with all kinds of vendors, and it's more of a, it's just not as quite as professional and upscale as what ours is. And of course, part of that's because of the great job the city's done of revitalizing our downtown Celebration Plaza. I have a hard time of saying that instead of the square for being here for such a long time, but they've done a great job, and we're so pleased with the job that the city does in helping us with this event. They've just been great to work with, and we think it makes a great setting for the event. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
And personally, I like to showcase Sulphur Springs to our community, and they get a chance to see what we got to offer, and I think part of the pizzazz of this is having that hometown atmosphere when you're walking to the concert, and feel safe and make sure that you're with friends, and you bring your eating atmosphere, and it's not a fast pace, but sometimes during the competition, it is intense, but after that, we have the whole night to celebrate together and enjoy the community and
Well, let's kind of get a picture of it. So, around Celebration Plaza, let's say, would it be on the Gilmer Street portion where the Cook's stations will be?
They'll actually be on the outside edge all the way around the plaza.
Okay.
The cooking teams will. And like I said, we have 37 slots that we've allocated for that. And then on the inside parking areas of the plaza, we'll set up tables and chairs for people when they're go through the serving lines, get all their sides, and then they'll go and pick their steak from whoever they want to cook it, and then they'll go and have a seat there on the plaza. And we haven't talked about the entertainment yet, but this year we've got a great set of entertainment scheduled, and we appreciate you, Enola, for helping with that. You were part of that committee that lined up our entertainment.
It has been a pleasure working with the folks on the committee, and we have got some Western Swing people here now. Jake Hooker doesn't do just Western Swing, but he certainly is in that genre, and a friend of mine, so I'm very looking forward to it. We also have some local talent, Matt Dunn.
Matt's been a big help to this event. Last year and this year he does graphic arts work for Echo, and he's helped us there. But he is going to be one of our entertainers this year, and I've had a chance to listen to him before, and he's really great. And I think people enjoy him. He'll lead it off at 3:30, and then we have another young and upcoming artist, Sarah Hobbs. She grew up down at Avenger, and of course we've got 5D Steak House from Avenger, Texas, be one of the restaurants competing in the competition too. But Sarah's, I think everybody's going to really enjoy her if they've not already heard her before. And then, as you mentioned, Jake Hooker will wind it up in the evening from 8 to 10:30. Well,
they're going to feature another local artist, who is Jack Phillips, and he plays fiddle, and he's a youth. He's 11 from the Sulphur Bluff area, but a great little fiddler, and has played with Jake on venues, different places in Texas, so they didn't just meet. So, Jake Hooker, though, loves to play dance music.
He does, and we've got plenty of room in the streets for a little street dancing too. And I know last year we had some people that were dancing, and I think we'll even have more this year. So it'll be a good time. This is going to be a Texas event.
It's as good as it gets, and I love the idea to have our producers being part of this celebration. We're going to have them on the arena earlier that day, and we're going to trolley them to the square. So it's going to be a like you said, a street party type of celebration of what we do in Sulphur Springs style.
And on Beef Day, that is just amazing.
Yeah.
That we have that proclamation for that day.
And we appreciate the support of the commissioners, and I think you can see it throughout the year, not just today. The big support of the beef industry and what it does to us. And just like Dwight was saying, there's a lot of people that get involved in this. And the sale barn also, I would like to make a public recognition of the excellent job they do to keep those sales going and keep us excited about being on the beef industry, and those guys are prime guys in my book, and they will be part of this. They will be around. We're going to be around. Our families will be there, and this is what all we come together and bring some patience. We're cooking steaks. We're not cooking fast food at all. So it's something that we need to spend some time together and visiting with each other and just celebrate in a family atmosphere.
One thing, we couldn't do this without our sponsors, because we don't do this to make money out of it. It's a celebration to honor the beef producers in our area and to promote the beef industry, and at the same time to be able to do something for the consumers and the people here in the area. So without the sponsors, we couldn't do the entertainment and all of the things that we do. And so Texas Heritage National Bank, Sulphur Springs Livestock, Brookshire's, and J. Hodge Chevrolet are our main event sponsors, and without them we couldn't begin to do this, and we really appreciate all of them.
And planning to be at the October 7th Ribeye Roundup Cattleman's Classic. be prepared to meet some new friends, because we have diners coming from other towns and other parts of North Texas.
Right.
We do. We have the Hole in the Wall is a restaurant in Paris, Texas. Will be here for the first time this year, and Drew Crawford from up there is really looking forward to the event. He's hoping he's going to take home the trophy. Seth from Quitman, Texas, he competed last year and took home. I think he was a reserve champion. Of course, the country club locally. They do a great job out there, and they came last year and took away the grand champion position. And they're going to represent our organization at the World Food Competition in Alabama in November because of our organization. They got an invitation to go there.
That's fabulous. And there's more to tell, but we're out of time.
Excellent.
Thank you for coming in for NetBio and their special event on October 2nd.
Thank you, Leonardo.
Thank you.
Here's Don Julian with sports.
It's a rare thing in life when you get a chance to hit the reset button for a fresh start. Non-district games are over and district play begins this Friday as the Wildcats football team travels to Longview Pine Tree. Wildcats football coach Greg Owens talked with media members Wednesday morning about the Pirates and his Wildcats.
You can reset and go. Hopefully you iron some things out and you're working on stuff and trying to get kids healthy still and get all those things ironed out. But it does count now. And in our case, now some familiar foes and some guys we played a little bit. And although Pine Tree's got a new guy in them there, but they're kiddos. We've been around their kids for a while now, so a lot of that stuff hadn't changed. So we kind of know what we're getting into in this situation.
Are you seeing a little more pep in the step in practice and stuff this week?
Yeah, we gave them a good challenge on Saturday. We gave them another one on Monday, and this week's been good. I mean, they have. Monday was a crazy day for us, extremely hot, humid, and then in the middle of all that, sun's still out, rainbow comes up, and it rains on us for 30 minutes, and huge drops, and no lightning or anything. So it was a weird deal, but it kind of changed the atmosphere and cooled the kids off and the coaches off and everybody else, and we got a lot of good work in on Monday, and the same thing on Tuesday. Tuesday's just a hard day anyway. It's a grind day because you kind of implemented the plan on Monday. Then on Tuesday, you just kind of expect them to get after it all day for 2 hours. And so it was kind of tough, but they fought through it. And again, we see some improvements in some areas we know we've got to get better in. And so those things are starting to happen.
We saw Pine Tree really take a leap last year where I think they were 4-6 or something, which for them was very, very good. Won, like 3 district games or something like that. But now a new coach comes in, so what can you tell us about Pine Tree?
They're still going to run an even front, 4-2-5 on defense. Offensively, they're kind of a lot like us, and then they're formation-wise. I mean, they're going to be some 2x2 stuff and 3x1, but they're also going to put the B back there and do some stuff with him. They are pretty dangerous at quarterback. Big old kid. I mean, he is a sophomore, the Williams kid, Keyshawn Williams. He's 6'4", 230, and so they run him a bunch. He's not as accurate, I know, as they want him to be right now throwing the ball, but he throws enough to keep you honest with some play action stuff and just straight drop back. So they've had a little bit of trouble in their pass pro, people just heating them up and coming after them a little bit. But you get back there to that guy, he's a giant sitting back there. And I mean, they bounce off of him. And when he falls forward for 3 yards. So he's a challenge in himself, with that. And then got a guy we've seen for a while now, senior Malik Owens at running back. And he's a tough downhill guy with really good vision. He gets after you. I'm a bit impressed with him. And then that H-back guy that also plays inside linebacker for him is number 20, the Schaefer Russell, 6'2", 205, just a tough kid. I mean, he's probably your prototypical fullback in the old I days. He's the guy that comes after you. Well, they're using him as a B-back. They're using him as a tight end. He's the inside linebacker, just a tough kid. He can catch the ball, and I mean, he can do a lot of stuff for you. And so he's been very impressive for me just to see his attitude and his effort on the field and the way he runs to the ball. And, I mean, he's a physical kid, just a tough high school hard-nosed football player. And you don't have enough of those guys, I mean, ever. So been impressed with him. And then they got a speed guy. They try to keep you off balance with receiver number 8, Kenny Jackson, a senior, 5'9", 160, extremely shifty, fast. They run a lot of reverses to that guy just to keep you honest. And he's a guy, too, that can go over the top. One of the return guys. He returned nearly 100 yards against Pittsburgh. who's Pittsburgh is loaded with some great talent there. So they did a great job with that. So, they're there. I mean, Coach Collins has done a great job of getting these guys ready. And that now Coach is in, and he's got a chance now to continue with that. So you can see some of those same things going, and not a whole lot of change in some areas, but there's some stuff. I mean, Coach came over from Gilmer, and so there's a little bit of that lot of misdirection stuff that they do in their Gilmer offense with a lot of jet sweep things and changing and stretch read and that kind of stuff to kind of throw you off. But it's not full blown Gilmer offense yet, but he's still kind of moving on with what Coach Collins had.
The Williams quarterback, how would you compare him maybe to the Paris quarterback that was really good?
He's just a big body. If you remember the Chumley kid they had several years back, he's a lot like him. He's just a big old kid and just kind of raw in his throwing ability. But again, he's a big kid, and those big kids are just hard to tackle. And he gets to going, and I mean, it doesn't look like he's moving very fast, but neither of us a train or an airplane. But they get to going, and these guys are hard to deal with. So short yardage stuff, those things with those guys, I mean, he's going to be a force. He'll pull it down and scramble a little bit, but he's not the athlete. Totally different athletes you're talking about when Paris and him. It's just different. I mean, he's going to be, if he develops in the passing wise, he's going to be your prototypical stand in the pocket, college quarterback. He's not going to be the guy on the edge, but he can run because he's a big kid and he can still run. And he's just a sophomore. So, I mean, the guy's going to develop, and they just kind of come in and say, hey, this is a really good athlete that's really big and has some ability. We're going to start training him at quarterback right now and see how we can develop him. And that's the same thing they did with the Chumley kid.
I asked Coach Owens. I asked Coach Lane, and he mentioned two players. He mentioned Owens that you talked about, and then, of course, he's really high on Schaefer.
Yeah. Kind
of the key to that Pine Tree defense. You can talk to
It is. I mean, those guys make the plays. They're the playmakers. So it's easy to pick them out on the field. It's easy to point them out. And again, the Schaefer kid, just his toughness, his attitude. That you just see that on video. That guy, and then the athleticism of the Owens kid. Those guys just do a great job for them, and they make a lot of plays for them. And hopefully that's some of our keys to stopping the ball game is trying to control those guys too.
Mm-hmm. What do we have to do to win this game?
It still goes back to us, and I know y'all are tired of hearing me say that, but us being more consistent. Offensively, we killing ourselves. We will make a play, and the next thing you know, we got an offsides, we got a holding. It's just consistency in that. And that was some frustration in our practice yesterday, too. At the end, we got hot, we got tired, then we just kind of started making the mistakes. So it's consistency getting that thing going. Last week that was part of the problem. Defensively, last week, we didn't tackle well in the first quarter. Now, second, third quarter, defense played pretty good. Fourth quarter, they're worn out because offense has been going 3 and outs, the whole ball game. So there's no consistency there, and we talked about that over the years, how they all feed off each other, and the emotion of the game feeds off each other. So when offense is struggling and defense gets doom and gloom, unless they can get a turnover, and we had some of that stuff. We picked one up, ran it in off a punt, and those things, but we didn't create as many turnovers as we have in the last ball games also. So, I know that was a point of emphasis of Coach Aber and his staff this week to get that done. So those things with the kids. So we're mid-season right now. I think the kids have, feel good about themselves. So it's about us going out and having some confidence. We need to have some success early in the first quarter too to get things going. I think that's the key to the whole thing, and us just believing we can go and get it done, and then some guys on the field step up and make the plays that need to be made. So, we're optimistic and hopeful and getting after it, and we're ready to go, and all those kind of things. But it's back to us defensively tackling well, getting lined up, tackling, and they're not tricky. I mean, on both sides of the ball with Pine Tree, they're pretty simple the way they line up on defense. Now, that might change this week, but, the 4-2-5, they just line up and play base pretty much. They're going to heat you up every now and then. And then on offense, again, they a lot of misdirection a little bit, but they're really not tricky. It's the same stuff. They just trying to get good at what they're doing and their base plays. So for us, then, it's about making plays. It's about making tackles, lining up. Here we go. Your head shouldn't be spinning. We were seeing another even front for the second week in a row now, so those things are to be more. We are more accustomed to that on the offensive line, not having to worry about a bunch of checks and guys jumping in and out of 3 different fronts. So all those things I think are settling down. And our offensive line was challenged this week. So offensively, it's about maintaining, getting on blocks and maintaining blocks, and finishing plays. We kind of go ahead and bump a guy around. We think we've got him blocked like it was middle school. It's not. Mm-hmm. So those things, and those guys have been challenged at that this week too, and be more physical up front. And again, always offensively take care of the football. Tackle on defense, take care of the ball on offense, be more consistent all the way across the board.
A strange thing happened to the Wildcats team tennis squad as they lost to Texas High 19-0 at the Wildcats Tennis Complex Tuesday afternoon. Wildcats tennis coach Tony Martinez tells us his team developed some confidence that should help them in upcoming district matches.
Kind of my expectations, we got hammered. You can go every way, which way you want to call it, hammered, slaughtered, ripped apart, 19-0. But all in all, I was really pleased the way the kids, participated during the match. The two things that I look for is, the two traits we look for is, positive attitude, total effort. And the kids brought that yesterday. I think they grasped what we're talking about, being competitive. And they were competitive in every point. And I could walk up and down every court and, seeing, even at the end, I know we were losing maybe 6-1, 6-4-0. We saw players still fighting for a point. They didn't just stop and let the ball go by. So I was very, very impressed, and I praised the kids after the match, with that, what I saw made me very happy yesterday.
Yeah. I think you said it was one of your best days here, right?
It was one of my best days. What we were trying to do is, you can't, you're not going to win every match, but you want to coach these kids where they're coachable and they do the right things, and they did do that. Try to show them, there's going to be things in life that you have to go against, different, hurdles in life. And they did it yesterday. We knew what probably the outcome might be, but we didn't go down in an embarrassment part. That's what I was trying to say. It's like all the kids walked off with their heads held up, came in, I'm like, Coach, I played them close. And I said, that's great. That's the attitude that we want to have. You can't just go out there thinking we're going to lose. You got to, play every point. You never know what can happen.
It's always it's nice to hear from the other guys, and Texas High coach, I'm sure he noticed we got after him as best we could.
He did, and it was, he praised the kids on how much they had come through the improvement over the past year from last year's match. And we were going, getting beat 0-0, but they had to stay here a little bit longer, before they could go home last night. And we pushed them, and that was what we wanted to do, and we were happy with that.
Well, it's that's a tough match, and it's always kind of good to have that one behind you, and some more winnable matches coming up. Who's next now?
We have Mount Pleasant, and like you're talking about, the when you come into these type of matches like T-High, sometimes you come to these matches thinking, we're already going to lose this. They're the number 9 team in the state of Texas. But after the players finished that match, they were like, we could compete with these players. And so from here on now, with Greenville, Pine Tree, we are the better team walking on the court. So that will also help us, I think, mentally in our minds, that, to walk on the courts and be more positive when we play our next opponent. And Mount Pleasant is, our next opponent, and we go over there next week.
Sounds like losing 19-0, may be the best thing that's happened to this team, really. I mean, honestly.
It was.
The growth that they had.
Definitely. I think the growth was there yesterday, and now they kind of believe in themselves, and that's what I think, like this type of a jolt in life, and they're saying like, hey, we have done the work. We are there. We can stay on, for points. We did well.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.